Hello again, everyone. Um, After about a year and a half hiatus, I've gone back to school recently, and so we are now bringing back the College at 30 something. This case right now, it's College at 33 series where I review and discuss the college courses that I am taking. Of course, in a previous video, one about Brandman University and one where I go through the whole enrollment process, and it is very complex. Here I will just discuss the first course that I took. After getting all my transcripts in and the transcripts going through a very stringent transfer evaluation process, the first class that my advisor recommended that I take is a class called English 104, Writing About Literature. Now, this to me was kind of odd. The general education requirements, if you go to a lot of public universities, and especially if you start off at a community college and then you go to a four-year school in the same state, everything really fits neatly. However, if you're like me and you start off at a community college in Maryland, and then you go to a private Christian college in Florida, and then you go to a community college in Florida, and then you go to a online college called American Public University, and then you go back to a private from a public online university to a private online university, and there's all these balls that are just bouncing all around that are representing courses that you take and whether or not they're going to transfer. So in my college career, I have already taken most colleges. You have to take 2 classes in English, and they are both composition or writing intensive classes. Taking a class about literature is more of a humanities requirement. But you can take art or you can take film study. There's a lot of ways around that humanities credit. And I actually took a course back in 2007 called, it was an American Literature course. But, you know, a lot of colleges, especially the private colleges, are really going to go and look at the syllabus, see what books you read for that class, and if it doesn't match up with their standards, you kind of have to take, the course again. So this course I'm taking is called Writing About Literature, or I took, excuse me, and it is, let's see here, I'm on the website right now. So you have, let me see here, week 1. What I like about this course is that you have a textbook you can read along with that week's work to help you analyze literature and write about it successfully, hopefully. Week 1, we read a short story called Everyday Use. It was a lot of African American history, which I actually find very interesting. Short story, about 5 pages. We also did a diagnostic essay. Okay. So character traits in fictional or real people may have positive or negative effects on the people around them. Select a person, real or fictional, who possesses character traits that influence others in a positive or negative way. write an essay in which you describe this person's character traits and provide examples of how these traits affect other people. So I chose Lance Armstrong, and I talked about how his character traits positively influenced people at first, and then negatively affected people. Of course, hopefully y'all know about Lance Armstrong, and he was an up-and-coming bicyclist, got diagnosed with cancer, won the Tour de France 7 times, and then a few years after that, found out he cheated. He used performance-enhancing drugs, and really, he was one of my heroes growing up as a teenager, and boy, stabbed me in the back. Never met the guy, but still, that's how I feel about that. So that essay was very fun and easy to write. And also, the first essay is the professor is just trying to see what your writing style is and that sort of thing. And you get a completion grade, basically. If you put effort into it, as long as you put some effort into the assignment, you get 100%. And I got 100 on that. Okay, and then of course you do, every week you're going to have a discussion post. This is par for the course in any online college you take. Of course, this was based on the everyday use short story. Okay. Week number 2. Okay, week number 2, we go into William Faulkner, Ernest Hemingway, and we do you have to submit a draft of a fiction essay. This essay is generally going to be about 1,000 words, and let's see, and the draft was due middle of the week, okay, by Thursday evening at 11:59 p.m. Let's see, this topics, basically you can pick any. You can do Everyday Use by Alice Walker, which I did from the prior week, or you can do William Faulkner, Barn Burn in Peace, or you can do Ernest Hemingway's Hills Like White Elephants. The thing in this course is the professor, Penny Claudio is her name. She is very, very strict about format. It has to be an MLA format. You have to have the sources that you used, which in the first essay you just have to cite the story that you're using on a works cited page, and that has to be MLA format. The most helpful website I recommend is Purdue OWL. That's Purdue University's online writing lab for that. Okay. And you get to write about, you have 2, let's see, you have 2 discussion posts this week. So this week's a little bit more difficult than week 1, obviously. Okay. Week 3, okay, is you're going to look at we're looking at poetry now instead of fiction. We're looking at Robert Frost and Emily Dickinson's. I really enjoyed reading Emily Dickinson's piece, Some Keep the Sabbath. That was about how she rejected attending church away from her house, but she actually turned her house and her garden and did her own church service, which I thought was kind of cool. We're on week 3 now. This one, now you're going to do a final draft for the fiction essay. And then one thing I really like about this course is that you turn in a rough draft and you get it's a completion grade, so as long as you turn in something and as long as you are kind of around the word requirement, within maybe a couple 300 words or so, you're going to get 100% completion on that, and that'll help your final grade. Okay, so week 3 we're doing completing the final for the fiction essay, and then we have let's see, we have two discussion prompts again. But when Professor Claudio assigns more than one discussion prompt, generally the stories or poems are very short, which is good. Okay, week number 4. Okay, let's see. Week number 4, we're doing. Let's see. What are we doing this week? Okay, you have to complete a rough draft of the poetry essay, which I actually did Emily Dickinson's song Keep the Sabbath, an analysis on that. Rough draft of that due by Thursday evening. And you have, let's see, 3 discussion posts, but one of them I didn't do. It was about the Crimean War, and that just kind of was boring to me, so I didn't do that one. It was like 10 or 20 points off your grade, which all the classes at Bramley University are based on 1,000 points. So, 10 or 20 points out of 1,000 is really not going to hurt you if you want to skip an assignment. Okay. Week 5. Now we get into Shakespeare, and I'll admit I did not do anything with Shakespeare. And this I lost like 50 points, so I took a little bit of a hit, but just this week you have to read Acts 1 through 3 of What You Do About Nothing, okay? And then let's see, for your discussion post you have to answer 3 questions, of 1 for each act about Much Ado About Nothing. Okay, and you're also going to do a works cited page for your upcoming final research essay. You have the final draft of the poetry done. You have to do that this week, and you have to fill out a research essay topic proposal in addition to the Shakespeare assignment. But if you want to do Shakespeare, that's fine. But again, it's going to cost you. Your chances of getting an A if you skip Shakespeare is not good, but you can still probably get a B though, as I'm going to get in this course. Okay, so week number 6 is more Shakespeare. Okay, Acts 4 and 5, Much Ado About Nothing. She also wants you to watch the 1993 film version of Much Ado About Nothing. It's like, oh my gosh, who has time to do all that? And she wants you to start working on your final research essay. Okay. So week 6, if you want to take a bit of a week off, do it. Week number 7. Okay, this is where things start getting pretty heavy, because we're getting towards the end, of course. Okay, now for the research essay, you can pretty much write about the Shakespeare, or you can do August Wilson's Gem of the Ocean. This is a book. It's a book of a play. It's about 85 pages long. Not a terribly long thing to read. By Thursday of this week, you'll want your rough draft of the literary analysis research essay is due. Okay. Let's see. She also has this Gem of the Ocean Word on Plays, which is a nice little Cliff Notes kind of thing to help you, write your paper and, understand what's going on in this play, too. Okay. Your discussion post is based on Gem of the Ocean, and I recommend if you're going to write about question number 3 about are the characters truly free, that discussion question can help you write your term paper if you pick the topic of this play takes place 40 years after the Emancipation Proclamation was signed into law, but the characters still are feeling the wounds of slavery and basically want to know what are the effects of the wounds of slavery on the characters. So the question about are they truly free, how free do you think each character is in Gem of the Ocean, that'll really help you write your final paper. Okay. Also, she has video clips of the actual play that was performed in 2015 in Alameda, California. Okay. Week 8, the final week, you're going to do a discussion post. Basically explain why we continue to tell stories about thousands of years, why they're so powerful, what do they give us. This one's probably one of the more easier ones, for discussion. Your research essay is due Thursday this week, the final draft. Then you have a final paper, a reflection essay. Okay. First, let me talk about the research essay. That has to be at least 1,500 words. You got to do at least 2 primary sources other than the book, Gem of the Ocean, or Much Ado About Nothing. Okay. So just keep that in mind. The reflection essay is a nice downhill, easy paper. You only do 750 words. And basically you take a quote and you write about the quote. The one that I did was, a reader lives 1,000 lives before he dies. The man who never reads lives only once, right? So you can talk about how reading is good for you, and if you don't read, you'll be a dum-dum. And then some other ones. There's a quote by F. Scott Fitzgerald, C.S. Lewis, Robert Frost. She has about 10 different quotes you can pick from. Then you just write 750 word essay on whether or not you agree with the quote or you disagree. It says you are expected to make reference to particular books we have read in this class, but no additional research will be expected. But you still want to cite the sources, the books that you have read for the course, and do a works cited page, because the professor is very strict about that. This one I got a 95 on, the highest grade in the class. The other 2, the fiction one, I got a 90 on. There was some issue with some of the paragraph organization, and some of the sentence structure in the paragraphs were a little off as far as introducing the topics. And the other one I got a 92 on. And that was just trying to think. Like the topic sentence was she didn't like very much, some of them. This one I got a 95 on. The only reason why I didn't get 100 is because I missed a citation on one of the quotes I used for one of the stories. Okay. So when you look at this course, you're going to have it's a lot of writing, obviously. Reading, look, if you like to write, and I kind of do, this course will probably be a piece of cake. The reading is not too bad. I've had worse English classes than this one. The professor is very fair. And there's been a couple times where I've had issues with turning in assignments. Now I want to tell you this. This professor is very, very strict on let me tell you this. Discussion post, okay? You can turn a discussion post in late, but instead of getting a 10 out of 10, you'll probably get an 8 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10. So you don't, but the papers, don't turn in anything late. Okay, she's very strict about that for the final papers. But one of the programs you have to use is Correct English. It's called Correct English, the actual software program. And I've had issues with using this program to upload paper for some reason. I don't know why. I'm fairly computer literate. But I emailed the professor the paper, and she didn't have any issue with that either. For that, the final paper you have to submit to Turnitin.com. When I did that, Turnitin.com was actually down in the university's computer board. But my professor, I emailed my professor, explained the problem, emailed her a copy of the paper, and she actually was able to post it to Turnitin.com with her ability. So this course, how would I say it? Degree of difficulty, scale of 1 to 10. I have to say about a 7, just because you're required, you're going to write some papers in this class. You got diagnostic, poetry, fiction, research essay, and then you got the reflection. So you got 5 papers in 8 weeks to do. So 7 out of 10 for difficulty. As far as the professor, I didn't really have any problems with. I would probably give her, it would have been nice if she would have commented on my post a little bit more than she did. I'd have to give her probably an 8 out of 10. She did good. This course is not something I'm very passionate about. I'm not really passionate about fiction or literature, but it was okay. So there you have it. English 104 at Bramley University, writing about literature. For the Conservative Pelican, I am Bobby Crawford. Thanks for watching.